What's up, everyone? Welcome to a special Christmas edition, episode 2 of Courtside with Shivam and Mailee. I'm your host, Shivam Patel, coming to you live from San Antonio, Texas. And my co-host, Mailee Jones, coming to you live from Vietnam. And as you can tell, me and Mailee are ready for Christmas, wearing our ugly Christmas sweaters. I got a tree in the background. We can't wait. We wish everybody out there Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And Merry Christmas to you, Mailee.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. I cannot wait for today's show, Shivam. Definitely have a surprise for you. And you guys that are watching, we definitely have a little special surprise for you guys as well. Definitely keep engaged with us. See you guys in the comments. We definitely want to hear your comments, questions, concerns. But Shivam, I'm really excited for today.
Oh man, I can't wait. We had a 2-week gap, and just to be back, this is going to be so exciting. We're going to have a lot of fun. As Mailee said, we have an exciting show planned for you today. We're going to be talking about the men's and women's college basketball games since the last time the show happened. We're also going to get to some NBA because the season starts on December 22nd. In our lifestyle and culture section, we're going to go back and talk more about Vietnam, about food and coffee. So be ready to stay tuned for that. And lastly, our inspiring stories in sports. We're going to talk about Vanderbilt kicker Sarah Fuller. So Mailee, are you ready?
Of course, Shivam. I'm definitely ready for today because I have some facts to show you.
All right. Oh, man, I can't wait to hear them. So first, let's get started on our college basketball segment.
Yeah.
So let's start on the women's side, Mailee. So as you know from the last episode, I'm currently in Texas. Mailee is from Texas also. So let's talk about a big Texas rivalry, Texas versus Texas A&M on the women's side. And my alma mater, University of Texas, ended up falling short to Texas A&M 66-61. Mailee, it was a bad shooting day for the Texas Longhorns, only shooting 33% from the field compared to Texas A&M shooting 41% from the field. And Texas A&M was just the aggressor. You could just tell from the opening tip that they really took it to UT. They ended up shooting 26 free throws, Mailee, getting to the foul line. They seemed like they were more hungry. They were going after more loose balls. So I think it was just an overall better effort from Texas A&M than Texas. Of course, Texas A&M was the higher ranked team, but still I expected more from the Texas Longhorns, especially being at home. And Adam Doe, thank you for the remark. I'm here, guys. Thank you again for tuning in, Adam. And we look forward to, hearing from you more from the show. So, but Mailee, what did you think about this game?
Like you said, Texas A&M just gave it to them from the jump. And, that's really important when you play a basketball game. You want to start off really aggressive. If you start off kind of analyzing the game, who's here, who's there, it's not really, going to be in your favor to win. But I think Charlie Coiler from UT, I think she didn't have her best game. She had a quiet double-double, which is still good. A double-double is not easy at all. But she had a quiet double-double. It wasn't her best shooting day, and she's their go-to player, and so when she's not going, the team's not going. I think they had a vet player, Kyra Lambert, and I think that was a great addition to the team, UT, because, she can kind of pave the way for those freshmen, sophomores. She's been down the block, a couple times. So like you said, it wasn't a good day for them, but it happens. When you play any sport, you're going to have those games where you just really can't find your rhythm throughout the entire game. But Texas A&M, kudos to them for, coming from the jump and just taking it to them.
Right, exactly. And, Charlie Collier, who Mailee mentioned, she's projected to be the #1 overall pick in next year's, WNBA draft. And she has to, play a lot better. She ended up shooting like 4 of 17 from the field. And if she struggles, the rest of the UT players really struggled. Celeste Taylor, also their point guard, didn't have, the best game. But I think UT is getting a little bit used to, they have a new head coach, Vic Schaefer from Mississippi State, who was a home run hire, by the way. I was completely stoked when I heard about that because he beat UConn multiple times. And I don't care who you are. That's really hard to do, Mailee. And he beat them in the Final Four stage. So I think, the buy-in process is going to take a little bit of time. They're still ranked. But Mailee, come on, you got to have some pride. You cannot start the game as sluggish as UT did. You're playing against your biggest rival, Mailee, and only 2 hours away from Austin. You have to come with more energy.
You do. But at the same time, you have those games. Just some of the times it's like, okay, today I'm going to try and find a way to get me out of this mode. And sometimes that way is not the right way, or sometimes you just can't find it. But it happens, and like you said, it's a rivalry game. You have to step up no matter what. Everybody's tuned into this game. Everybody wants to see who's going to win, to shut the other rival's mouth. And, this one, really should have counted, but, it happens. But, whenever you play a sport and the game is really hyped, you just got to bring it no matter what.
Exactly. And, Texas A&M, I'm not taking anything away from them. They're a really solid team, Mailee. They're a top 10 team. They're going to cause some noise, in the SEC, with Kentucky and a couple of other teams there. So they're going to be a dangerous team to watch out for. I think they have a chance to make a deep run in the tournament. Maybe not Final Four, Mailee, but this is a very impressive group. And, UT had a chance to get a good win. But, like you said, early in the season, it's your time to really get your kinks out, get used to playing with one another. I think it would have been more energized the players if there was more of a crowd, Mailee. Of course, with COVID, the Texas Stadium only allows 25% capacity, so it was practically empty there. So I think it's hard to come up with your own energy, especially in such a big game. But I think UT is going to be fine. I like the direction that this program is headed, and I think they have a bright future to come.
Yeah, yes and no about the crowd. I know COVID has really done a number on a lot of people, and my love and heart goes out to those who have been affected by COVID-19. But like you said, when it's a rival game, you got to bring it. There should be no excuses no matter what, because everybody's tuned in, Everybody's tuned into a big game and the hype, and they want to see what it's about. So no matter what, you have to bring it. And Texas A&M just clearly, even if you just look at the stat line, Texas A&M was just ready to play.
They were. And thank you, Karen, for watching the show and for your comments. She says, looking good, Mailee. So Mailee has her own fan club out there. I know, she has a huge following, she's pretty popular, especially, all over the world and in San Antonio. And remember to connect with us, on the live chat. Keep the comments coming, keep the engagement coming, give us any feedback. Any thoughts about the show? Me and Mailee love it. But Mailee, let's move on to talking about UCONN. So UCONN today took care of business against Xavier. UCONN ended up having playing really strong. Paige Beckers ended up having a huge game with 19 points. Kristen Williams ended up having 24 points. So another impressive outing from UCONN, especially after, Mailee, they were dealing with a lot of COVID issues. So they didn't play for like a week and a half. So it looks like those girls were ready to come out, finally ready to play another opponent. And it's been a long time since they've been on the court. But they really brought it today, really imposed their will, and a very impressive performance today by the UCONN women's basketball team.
Yeah, and that's just clearly off coaching. When you have a coach that's as experienced as Gino, and you have a coach that has multiple rings and can't, he needs another hand or two to put his rings on. I mean, he just always comes prepared. That's the definition of no excuses. He always is going to bring it. Paige Beckers, I think she's transitioning really well from high school to college, especially at the top level. Her game looks really, really solid, not just scoring, but also, I think, I don't know if Charlie is projected to be the number one draft pick. Maybe for her class, but definitely if Paige has an opportunity to leave early, that would be great. Like I said, school will always be there, but the opportunity to play the game that you love will not always come.
But a lifetime opportunity.
Right. Paige is really talented. I think she's going to have multiple options about the time she chooses or when she wants to leave college. So she looks really solid out there.
Yeah, and I bet, she's going to collect some hardware before she leaves, for the WNBA, some conference championships, some even trophies, and she's going to collect some All-American honors. She's just Mailee, I don't know if you saw that highlight where it was a couple games ago where she had it at the top of the key, drove to her right, had a 6-spin move, fadeaway jump shot, nothing but net. It was just really polished. Like, you don't see freshmen do. Yeah, exactly. You don't see freshmen doing that a lot, Mailee. I don't care what level you're at. And she's just playing at a very experienced, playing at a very high level. She looks like a very experienced player out there. But Mailee, UConn also has a very strong, balanced attack. They can come at you multiple ways. Coach Ariema has done a great job with those guards. They have great inside play. They're going to play hard on the defensive end of the floor. So I think this is the most complete team right now in the country. Even though they are number 4, they fall in a couple spots. But I think right now UConn has to be, the favorite right now in the Final Four.
Yeah, I think they're eventually going to make their way to the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
I think they really have a good chance this year for a ring. But I think Paige Beckers, she's a freshman. Everybody knows that. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, no matter what grade level you are, how old you are, it's about playing basketball. Mm-hmm. And right now she's playing basketball. No, she's not playing like a freshman. But when you see her in school, when you saw her in her AAU season, when you see her play right now, you see that she's there to play basketball. She's not worried about the age. She's not worried about the grade. She is there to play basketball. And that's why she looks really solid out there.
Right, and she's, it's hard to speed her up. She looks very composed out there, the point guard position, getting her teammates involved, scoring what she needs to. She's a great leader out there, talking with her teammates. So I've been really impressed with her. But also it helps that UConn has a lot of veterans, Mailee, that you can lean on. And I think that you need veterans and you need older players, to win either on the men's or women's side. Because you see those freshman teams, they're very rare that would. They don't win or they go very far in the tournament. You see the more experienced teams like the UConns or the South Carolinas or the Stanfords that go far. So I think Coach Ariema has done a fabulous job with this team, and I like where they're headed so far, Mailee.
Yeah, they're doing really well, and I'm really excited to see how their season ends up.
Me too. So UConn's definitely a team that we're going to keep track of and talk a lot about on the show. But let's move on, Mailee, to talk about Baylor. So Baylor ended up winning today, against McNeese State on a completely dominant victory. And they won a couple days ago against Northwestern State. So Baylor's had a couple of nice games. They really rebounded well, Mailee. A couple of weeks ago, they had a loss to number 16 at the time, Arkansas. And
I know.
And that was a big wake-up call for Baylor because they really struggled on the defensive end, Mailee. And I think their coach really emphasized, like, hey, we can be as great of an offensive team as we want to, but if we can't lock anyone up on the other end of the floor, we're going to struggle because it's hard to outscore people nowadays because you can have a bad shooting night. The other team can be hot. So I think it was a great learning lesson from Baylor, and they've really clamped down on these teams. They've been playing out of the charts defense these last couple of games.
Well, I mean, all the players that they signed, before the season started, that really was huge. I think when they lost to Arkansas, like you said, that was a really big wake-up call because you have all that talent. You should not lose one game, And I think this game against Northwestern State, they had all their players, their key players that they signed. I know Jaden Owens, she's, working her way back up into the lineup and working her way and getting a rhythm. So I think once they add that final piece of the puzzle, they really are going to be dominant. Melissa Smith, she had a really good game, 30 points, 21 minutes.
Right, very efficient.
For those who know the game of basketball, that's definitely not easy. I think she could have went for a double. Just have to be more aggressive on the boards, but still 30 points in 21 minutes. That's still difficult. So kudos to her. Definitely congratulations to the Baylor team on a huge win. And what I mean by huge, I mean look how much they won by.
Oh my God.
Right. Crazy. That's really, going after it each quarter of the game.
Right. And, Baylor's always going to have the offense. They're always going to have the size advantage. Like I said last episode, what are they feeding those girls down in Waco? They always seem like they're bigger than everybody. It's just like a mismatch down there. And if you don't out-rebound Baylor, you have no chance. But if they continue to use their length, use their athleticism, Mailee, on the defensive end, this team can be really scary and take them to the next level. Because on nights that their offense is struggling, their defense can feel their offense, making the other teams get turnovers and get easy transition points. And Mailee, as being a former Division I basketball player, if you're struggling, all you want to see is the ball go through the net because then you'll get more confidence that, hey, I can get my shooting back together and I can continue to score more. So I think that's a really big thing to look forward for Baylor going forward. If they can continue to play the solid defense, I think they'll be in contention.
Yeah, and if you ever, any athlete that's watching out there, if you ever have a time in a game that you're playing and you just feel offensively, you just cannot get it done, then you want to focus on defense. focus on defense, your offense is going to come to you. But if you're having a rough time offensively and you're just trying to get it all back at once, you're not going to be very successful just coming off experience. There's times where offensively I'm just struggling. But when I focus more on defense, then I'm going to be a lot better.
I think that's very important what you said, Mailee, and to all the young kids out there, I know offense, is glamorous and gets you paid, at the professional level, but defense is important, and it's just as important as offense. Is something to focus on, because you can get, even if you're not the best offensive player, Mailee, a way to get on the court and impress your coach is to play defense, and he or she will find minutes for you. And as you continue to improve your offense, then your offense will be able to catch up to your defense. So I think what you said is very true, and I know you're saying it from experience, because I think you come from you played at the highest level, Mailee.
Yeah, definitely off experience. But that's why we have the show, Shivam, not just to explain the facts, but we want our audience to be engaged in the comments, so we can give you some advice from our experience. Shivam being a basketball analyst, me coming off a playing experience, we want to share that with you guys. So maybe this is a way to help you.
Exactly. Be able to take your game to the next level, because Mailee has a wealth of experience. She's been playing basketball since a young age. She's played high school, college, and now playing internationally. So, but yeah, no, I think that's very very true, and something that people should take notice of. But Mailee, let's move on now to the men's side, and let's start with Texas basketball. Mailee, oh my God, they're top 10.
See, Shivam, you're doing this Texas basketball. I just cannot wait till we get to Luka Garza. Oh my gosh. Let's start with Texas basketball.
Yeah, let's talk about Texas basketball.
I want to be so ready, okay?
So I went to the game last week. For the audience out there, of course, it was only 25% capacity. It looks pretty dead, but I wanted to see Texas basketball in person, because I'm a University of Texas alum. Mailee, they're top 10 in the country right now, with the only loss being to number 8 Villanova, and they had really impressive games, beating Texas State, beating say Houston State. Of course, their game against number 2 Baylor ended up getting canceled due to COVID issues. But Mailee, your boy Greg Brown, what can I say about him? Against Texas State, 18 points, 3 3-pointers, even caught another body, showcasing his athleticism, his size. And against Sam Houston State, Mailee, 17 points, 2 blocks, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals. Oh my God, Mailee.
Sam Houston State, a mid-major school, that's all he's going to have?
Hey,
you mentioned freshman to me. Because like I said, freshman, you could be 34, you could be 15. You're supposed to play basketball. Sam Houston State.
Well, Mailee, we have a deep team, so he's not going to be able to get all the shots. We have Matt Coleman, who's the point guard, Courtney Ramey, who's a 2 guard. They've been playing really well. Man, what a senior season Matt Coleman has had. These guards attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line, making shots. These guards have been so impressive, Mailee. In the bench production, Kai Jones, who UT has another NBA prospect in Kai Jones, 6'11" from the Bahamas. He's just bringing that energy off the bench. He even caught a body, Mailee, against Sam Houston State. And I was like, man, don't do that to him, Kai. Man, God, he's really impressive, really versatile. He can put the ball on the floor, Mailee. He can catch at the top of the key, do a couple jab steps, get to a spot and really get to a spot and really be able to score at any level. And his shooting ability has been very impressive. UT, man, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in Big 12 play. But this team is looking good, Mailee.
Yeah, Shivam, you're talking all about Sam Houston State against a mid-major.
Hey, you have to play who's in front of you.
All about Sam Houston State. Like, they're supposed to do that. They're supposed to catch a body. Okay? 17 points for my boy, Greg Brown. Come on, let me tell you guys something. He is not my boy. That's not somebody that I'm like, oh, yeah, one and done.
He's one and done, Mailee.
I think he might have a chance to go one and done. But then what's he going to do when he gets to the league? That's really what's important.
Right.
Okay, yeah, you go one and done. That's awesome. But if you're not doing nothing, what does that do?
Oh, he's going to. He's going to get developed, Mailee. He's already getting developed. You see him getting better.
Houston State.
Mailee, you see him getting better every game. He does something, every game. The beginning of the season, he's been struggling shooting threes. The last 2 games, he's been making threes. The only one thing he needs to get better at, though, is when he catches the ball in the perimeter, he already predetermines what he's going to do. He doesn't read the defense, and determine, like when he catches on the perimeter, he's either like, okay, I'm going to shoot it, and he chunks up a shot, or I'm going to drive it. He's gone into foul trouble. Mailee, he's already fouled out of 2 games this season because he just drives to the basket recklessly and gets a lot of charges or reaches on defense. So he needs to settle down when he gets the ball, read the defense, and be able to use his size and athleticism. But he's getting better, Mailee. Shaka Smart's been coaching him really hard. He's not been as good on the defensive end, but Shaka's really put that emphasis on him, and he's only getting better, and I think he's really going to continue to improve. But the rest of the team is solid. This is the deepest. This is the deepest team that Shaka Smart has had. They have the guards, they have the big men, they have the depth, defensive versatility. I really like the future of this team, Mailee.
Shivam, you sound like a real hard-nosed UT fan. But Shivam, I'm really proud of you for weighing the positives and the negatives of Greg Brown, not just all positive or all UT fan Greg Brown. Big day for you, huh? I'm so proud.
Mailee, I'm objective. I only say what I see on TV, and I've really been impressed with him. I think he gets a little bit too sped up at times, but when he uses athleticism, I want to see him drive to the basket more. Because when he drives to the basket, nobody can stop him, Mailee. He's either going to
talking about Greg Brown right now, right?
Yeah, Greg Brown. He's either going to get to the foul line and score or both. So, but I like that the team is featuring him. But I would like to see also enough about Greg Brown for right now. Let's talk about. I would like to see Jericho Sims, though, their big man, Mailee. He's pretty jacked. He's like 220 pounds. He's like 6'11". Yeah. He needs to be better at finishing, down low in the post, and he needs to be better on the defensive end of the floor because he's supposed to be their big man anchor. And I would like to see more production from him. Because in the Big 12, you're going to play against a lot of big teams. So if he can continue to improve and get his offensive rhythm going, I think he has a chance to be really solid.
No, I mean, all in all, you mentioned great points, especially about Greg Brown.
Thank you.
You mentioned great points about Greg Brown. But I think you mentioned it about Sam Houston State. And I know it's still, pre-conference. Once we get to conference, we'll definitely see a little bit more about who they really are, because you're playing against these conference games are important. I think every game's important. I don't like when people say, oh, it's just preseason, it doesn't count. No, if you play a basketball game, it's about winning, no matter preseason, or conference, it's all about winning. So, but you guys, this is a big day for Shivam. He's mentioning the good things about Greg Brown and the things he can improve on. I am so proud of him.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh man, but no, this is the year for UT. I'm just getting hyped because in the past, they started strong, but they really tailored off. So I'm kind of tempering my expectations until I see them in Big 12 play. But right now, their early bracketologies, they're pegged as a 3 seed right now. But I got to see them because this Big 12, Mailee, it's going to be strong. Baylor, of course, we know is going to be good. Kansas, who had a big win against Texas Tech. We're going to be talking about that game a little bit later. Cade Cunningham in Oklahoma State, even though he did have an L. Talking about struggling, your boy was struggling, Cade Cunningham, Mailee. He dropped an egg.
It's going to happen. If he struggles against something like a mid-major school, okay, by all means, come at me, Shivam. But
he's struggling with TCU, Mailee. TCU is one of the bottom feeders in the Big 12, but it's all right. I digress.
TCU, Sam Houston State.
We'll see. We'll see what Greg Brown does against TCU, but we'll see. But Mailee, we got to move on to talking about a big game that happened today. Number 1 Gonzaga against number 3 Iowa. Gonzaga ended up getting the win, 99-89. Oh man, Jalen Suggs from Gonzaga had a huge game. He's been a superstar as a freshman. If you want to talk about, freshman balling out, has to be, Jalen Suggs. 27 points, Mailee, making 7 3-pointers. And Gonzaga looks like head over heels the best team right now in college basketball, the best team to beat. They have a great all-around team, and they're hands down the number 1 team in the country.
So Shiva, but before we go on, I want you to talk about your boy Luka Garza. I want you to spit some some of your facts about him before I go in on it. But go ahead. I want you to say more about Luka Garza.
Okay, yeah, Luka Garza ended up having a really good game. 30 points, 10 rebounds. He just ran into a better team in Gonzaga. He did all he can for his team. But if Iowa is not making threes, their point guard Jordan Bohannon was struggling. Wieskamp ended up, struggling. McCaffrey struggled. So he tried to kick it out to them, but, they were not making shots. And that allowed, Gonzaga to really be able to collapse the paint on Luka Garza and make it tough on him. But he still scored 30 points a game. But I'm worried about Iowa's defense, Mailee. They cannot stop a parked car. They couldn't stop me. It's like their defense is horrible, leaving open threes, open layups. It's like a super highway to the lane. They're getting beat off the dribble. If they don't improve their defense, Mailee, they're really going to struggle come tournament time. That's my biggest takeaway with Iowa. Go ahead.
Let me talk about Luka Garza before I talk about Gonzaga.
All right.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, our first episode, Shivam was going on and on and on about how Luka Garza's this, Luka Garza's that. And he's 6'11". He's supposed to be this and that. He's 6'11". I'm going to give him that. He's tall, okay?
And big and stocky.
He had 30 points. That's pretty solid. That's supposed to happen, okay? But that was it. I didn't see anything else. And Shivam, you said, okay, he is just this really great, solid player, is going to play all 4 years, getting his degree, da-da-da-da. I think he still should have left last year, but that's just my opinion. But then he gets beat by this team.
Number one team in the country, Mailee. Number one team in the country.
Okay, I mean, look at Gonzaga. They had guards. They had guards almost out-rebounding Iowa's guards.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And what, 12 rebounds, a double-double off a guard. That's tough.
Yeah, but it's hard, Mailee, because Gonzaga is one of those teams where they'll collapse on it. They forced the other players to beat them, the Iowa shooters, and the Iowa shooters made a lot of threes against North Carolina, and that's how they were able to win. Luka Garza.
Oh, we're talking about this one. We're not talking about North Carolina. We're talking about this game.
No, but I'm saying that the Iowa guards, bailed out Luka Garza against North Carolina. He only had 16 points in that game. But now against number one Gonzaga, Luka Garza has a huge game, but his guards don't help him out. So Iowa needs them to play complementary basketball.
True. I'm all about some basketball. But I'm just saying all this because you gave me a hard time on our first episode about Luka Garza. So I'm just returning the favor. I'm giving you a hard time about Luka Garza. Shivam told me Luka Garza is, John Wooden Award candidate. And
the favorite.
And to go, like you said about the Texas and Texas A&M game, going against the number one team is always going to be a hype game. Yeah. Always. Mm-hmm. So you got to bring it. So no matter what, I'm looking at this loss on Luka Garza. I'm not looking at it as a team. Yeah, they'll say, oh, yeah, it's a team sport, da-da-da-da. But when you're the franchise player, when you're the most hyped player on the team, every game is looking at you. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I say this loss is on Luka Garza.
But did he have a bad game? Mailee, in your opinion, did he have a bad game? Well, yes or no?
Yeah, he did. Let me explain why. Because he should have played an all-around game. It's not just about points when you play basketball. Your rebounding should be there. Your assists should be there. 6'11", if he had 30 points and 10 assists, or let's say he even had 7 assists, I'm like, okay, that's pretty solid because of his height. Mm-hmm. And yes, if your team is not doing so well, you got to find a way to put him on your back.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I agree, Mailee. But a couple of times, you try to throw it out to his shooters, and they just miss shots. And you don't get an assist, if you miss a shot. But I like him
get that assist attempt, so at least he tried.
Right, but I like that in the second half, he just was like, okay, my teammates are struggling. Let me try to take over because they were losing big, Mailee. But he ended up, making a huge comeback, in the second half, and that was, led by Luka Garza. So I think he tried to get Iowa as close as they can. But Iowa, come on, there's a talent gap between Iowa and Gonzaga. Gonzaga has dudes. Iowa is just really Luka Garza or bust still with them, and I need to see that.
This sounds like an excuse.
I still need to see more from them on defensive end. Mailee, I agree with you if you can get on him on the defensive end. He needs to improve. I have no defense there. But the offensive end, he has it. And he's a solid player. And he's the favorite for the Wooden Award because nobody is playing as good right now, as well, I should say, as Luka Garza.
Well, his offense is there, so he's only going to win a couple games here and there. But if his defense is not there, he's not going to get a ring. Mm-hmm. And if he's only in it for the hardware and the money, I mean, he probably won't be as successful as everybody is projecting him to be.
Right, and the coach needs to really. Iowa needs to do like a practice, Mailee, like tomorrow, like for 3 hours, just straight defense. Like we're not even going to touch a ball.
3 hours.
3 hours. Like we're just going to do defensive slides, whatever defensive drills you want to do. Don't even touch a basketball, Coach McCaffrey. Your team needs to improve on the defensive end. And remember, everybody, to like, share, and subscribe to the Patel Pick and Roll Sports YouTube channel. But moving on, Mailee, let's talk about Kansas against Texas Tech. That game happened Thursday night, and it was a nail-biter, 58-57. And Ochai Agbaji from Kansas ended up making the game-winning shot that ended up winning the game for Kansas Jayhawks. And he had 23 points. He had a huge game. And, man, what a win for Kansas. And as they try to go to win the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I mean, you either want to be the hero or the zero. And if you're willing to do that gut check, when you play the game of basketball, you're going to go far. Mm-hmm. You're going to go really far. And for him to take the last shot and, it going in and being the hero, that's what you want. And if you're ever in a situation when you play basketball that you want to pass it to somebody else to be the hero, the zero, and you're looked at as a franchise player, maybe basketball is not for you.
Right. He's the most experienced player on the Kansas Jayhawks. He's a junior. He got a good experience. I think that really helped him because he was supposed to redshirt his freshman year, but he ended up playing. And, Kansas also has Marcus Garrett, who's just a solid defensive player from Dallas, Texas. They ended up losing Udoka Azubuike, from last year, a big interior presence. But I like where Kansas is, at right now. Their offense has been really smooth. They do a dribble weave action, a lot of motion. A lot of back screens, a lot of cutting. So they have a really pretty offense, and they get a lot of easy buckets from that. But Texas Tech, Mailee, I really like where they're at also because they have a chance to, to make another run at the tournament. Of course, a couple years ago, they made it to the national championship game. They have Mac McClung, who's a really outstanding player. You don't think he can dunk, but he has hops, Mailee, for being as short as him. Yeah. The Georgetown transfer, Terrence Shannon, who's supposed to be a lottery pick for them, also had a good game. So, and Texas Tech, pride themselves on the defensive end. So I think Texas Tech needs to get better offensively, especially in the half court. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Tech, their defense is pretty solid. Like you said, they got to pick up offense. But when your defense is more solid than your offense, you're going to go far. You're going to struggle here and there, but you're going to go far because that's your mentality. Mm-hmm. Your defensive mentality. And, Kansas just, wanted it more than them at the end of the day. Whenever games come down to a nail biter, it's about who wants it at the end of the day. It has really nothing to do with talent. What happened here, what happened there. It's about who wants it. Right.
Who wants it more. And it hurt, because Texas Tech has a great home court advantage and it was not as packed, the United Supermarkets Arena. But, Texas Tech has a real chance. And I think, right now the Big 10 and the Big 12 are the two deepest conferences right now in college basketball. Big 10 has, of course, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Illinois, Michigan. Big 12 has Texas, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Texas Tech, so Oklahoma. So I think they have a really solid, conference on both ends. So whoever's going to come out of the conference is well deserving.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's move on, Mailee, to our NBA section. And like I said earlier, the NBA is going to be tipping off on December 22nd on opening night next Tuesday. We have some pretty marquee games, the Warriors against the Nets. Kevin Durant's going to play against his former team in the Golden State Warriors. And then the Battle of LA, the Los Angeles Clippers and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are going to be unveiling their championship banner from last year, Mailee. And that brings me to the question, Mailee. I know, you're a huge LA Lakers fan. Your dad's from LA. So, Mailee, will the Lakers repeat as champions? That's my question for you right now.
Well, Shivam, let me make a quick correction. For those who know me and always stop me, on the street or at the gym, I do not have a favorite NBA team. I always look at I always look at we'll cheer for Los Angeles here and there. Definitely always be a Kobe Bryant fan, always be a Magic Johnson fan for sure. But I don't know if the Lakers have a chance to repeat. I don't know. Some things are just not looking as solid as they did last year. They definitely want to keep players. And I'm gonna say this thing really quick. One thing I don't get is when you win a championship as an organization, as a franchise, as a company, because essentially it's a business.
It is.
I do, and Shiva, maybe you can help me out on this. Mm-hmm. Why do you get rid of the players that were all a part of being in that championship success?
You want to improve. You want to improve.
What do you improve to?
Well, Mailee, okay, go ahead. I'll let you finish your point before
No, that's really my question. What do you improve to?
Okay, so the biggest weakness for the Lakers last year was finding a third scorer, outside of LeBron and AD. I know playoff Rondo ended up, playing well in the playoffs, but he's getting up there in age. He was going to command too much money. But for the Lakers, you want to improve your bench, Mailee, because your bench really struggled at times, last year with, Rondo, Danny Green, Caruso. So they've really made some upgrades out there. Dennis Schroeder, who's a solid backup point guard, who's going to be a veteran. Marc Gasol, who won Defensive Player of the Year a couple of years ago. Montrezl Harrell, who's a former Sixth Man of the Year. So you're just getting better players and you're getting more versatility. And there's always that saying, Mailee, as a championship team, you always want to improve for the next year, because if the Lakers ran it back with the same team that they had last year, I don't think they would even come out of the Western Conference. So I think it was imperative that they improved. Yeah, I know that's a little bit of a hot take there, but yeah, they would not, because the bubble did them well, Mailee. There was no pressure. It was a shooter's gym. Like, people were shooting like crazy hot percentages. I bet I could have shot 50% from the three if I was in the bubble. Come on, that's how great of a, yeah. So like Mailee would have shot a high percentage, Coach DJ would have shot a high percentage. So I think everybody, exactly. We all knew exactly. So I think, right now the Lakers, I think they got better, Mailee, but I have one word for the reason that the Lakers will not repeat. Or actually it's two words: the Brooklyn Nets. They're coming, Mailee. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant, I believe, is the second best player in the NBA, the greatest scorer in NBA history. When he's eventually going to be, he's efficient. He can get like 30 in the sleep, Mailee. He's so efficient from the field. He's very smooth. I think him and Kyrie Irving are going to come back. They've already looked strong in the preseason. The Brooklyn Nets are going to come out of the East, and they're going to beat the Los Angeles Lakers. Kevin Durant's already beat LeBron head-to-head in the finals. Remember with the Warriors? He won finals. And
you're talking about last year. You're not talking about this year.
Huh?
You're talking about this year, right?
Yeah, this year. So I'm saying that Kevin Durant's already had LeBron James' number in the NBA finals, and I think that's going to continue.
That was last year. We're talking about this year.
No, actually, that was 2 years ago in 2017 and 2018.
2 years ago. Oh.
But he had Achilles last year. He had Achilles injury,
So he's going to come back different. He's not going to come back 2 years ago, or last year he didn't even play. But his body's going to be different. His muscles had to adjust different, because when you have an injury like that, and I definitely pray that he has a recovery. Everybody stays injury free in the league, and any athlete out there that's playing. But excuse me, you're going to come back a little bit different. You have to retrain, regroup your muscles.
He said he had to learn how to walk again. Had to walk. But Mailee, he's looked strong in these last two preseason games. Oh my God, like he's moving well, driving the basket. He's 6'11", Mailee, basically, or 7 foot. You can't block his shot. When he tries to go to the rim, he's too fast for big men, too big for guards. He's very cerebral. He's basically a matchup nightmare.
Yeah, I think Brooklyn Nets are not going to be a competition for the Lakers, not even for the East, just because.
No.
Well, you look at it, because Kevin Durant wants to score the ball, wants to be the man. Kyrie Irving wants to score the ball, wants to be the man. When you have something like that, are they each able to take a step back and see what's better for the team? Yeah, I don't know.
They're best friends. They're going to play off one another, I think. They're good buddies, and they have the urgency. They want to bring a championship.
I don't know about buddies. At the end of the day, it's about money.
No, they've known each other for a long. They wanted to play together, Mailee. They even talked about it a couple years ago at the All-Star game. Hey, we're going to play together.
So they want to play with each other, and it's not about getting the ring.
No, they want to play with each other and get the ring.
Well, I mean, you run across a lot of players, even nowadays, you know, they want to play with their friends. Oh, I want to play with my friends. I want to do this. I want to do that. But they're not really concerned about their development. They're not concerned about winning. And that's not going to get you far, you know. And you see a lot of amateur players, and I know I'm going off amateur, but, you know, they want to play for 6, 7, 2, 3 different teams. And they wonder why they're struggling. There was no time for development.
Right.
You're supposed to struggle, you know, and they're concerned about who they play with and not about their individual development for a team. You know, that's a lot of problems with basketball right now. They're so worried about, oh, I have to go here, I have to play there, I have to do this, I have to do that with all these different teams. But when you get to the league, when you get to college, you're only playing for one team, and it's about your development. You can't just be skipping around from team to team and say, okay, if I play with these 4 all-stars, then we're going to ring. No, because each of those 4 all-stars want to score the ball. They want those max contracts.
And there's one ball. Yeah.
Right. And I think they're going to struggle. And real quick, going off the Lakers, you know, and I do agree with you. They're not going to repeat. I do agree with you. I think they should not have gotten rid of Rajon Rondo because they have some rookies on the team that go back and forth with the G League. Rajon Rondo is that vet point guard, you know. He can really lead the way and be a leader for those rookie guards, you know. They bring in Dennis Schroeder, which you got to think Dennis Schroeder plays for the German national team. He's not going to give you all that energy that you need for a championship. Even though there's less games, there's not much less games, but there's less games in an NBA season. You know, he's focused on, you know, the Olympics are coming up, you know, and then he's got to have some qualifying. He's got to go to the practices. You know, his body is going to be worn out. Is he going to choose the Olympics? Is he going to choose the NBA season? You know, and, you know, at the end of the day, that's his decision. This is just my opinion. But, you know, you're not going to get too much out of Dennis Schroeder. You know, I think he's a great player, very talented, good point guard. But I think Rajon Rondo, they should have kept him because he could be the leader and start to build because, you know, LeBron James, he's got, what, 2-3 more years max, you know, to start developing a team.
Right. And I think that's very valid points that you made. I know we got to move on, but quickly, we ran an audience poll asking, will the Lakers repeat as champions? And it looked like the majority of the audience said yes. 80% of the audience says yes. But they disagree with me and Mailee. I don't think they're going to win the championship. But real quick, Mailee, who's going to – I know we got to move on, but just real quick, who's going to win the championship?
I don't know. I think it's too soon to tell. I think a lot of players are doing well in preseason, but that's just preseason, you know. I found out just a couple of days ago that those games don't count. So I'm like, well, look at this. But I think it's too soon to tell. I think further in our show, we can make that prediction.
Okay. And I just say the Brooklyn Nets, Mailee, New York. Yep, they're the team in New York. But now let's move on to our lifestyle and culture section. And in this section, we're going to be talking about all things food, fashion, sneakers, music. So this is one of my favorite sections there. So cue the tape. So this is lifestyle and culture section, Mailee. What are we going to be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about Vietnamese food and some traditional drinks that are here in Vietnam. So for those of you who don't know, I actually live in Vietnam right now. During, you know, the COVID situation, it can be very difficult with traveling. But I'm here in Vietnam. And so one of my favorite foods and traditional Vietnamese foods is pho, which is the soup. Pho soup is really good. And chai. So chai is, I'm probably saying it wrong for all you Vietnamese audience. I'm so sorry. I still got to work on that. But it's essentially fried egg rolls, Vietnamese style, with pork. So it's actually really good. There's a restaurant here that's, oh gosh, maybe, I don't know, a 10-minute drive. They make the best chai I've ever had in my life. Really good. But I think my grandmother makes the best. And she can definitely compete with this Nong restaurant here that's 10 minutes away. But it's really good. Definitely one of my favorite foods to eat. If you guys ever have the chance again to visit Vietnam or for the first time to visit Vietnam, definitely try pho and chai. It's really good.
Yeah, I've had pho before, Mailee, here, you know, in the restaurants. Pho's pretty good. Chai, I love spring rolls, so I'm getting hungry, Mailee. It's late night here, but I might get a midnight snack. Oh man, that looks delicious. And I know, you know, they have a huge, you know, food culture and also coffee culture in Vietnam, Mailee. So kind of tell us about the coffee there and what kind of coffee you can get if you live in Vietnam or if you're visiting Vietnam.
Yeah, if you're visiting Vietnam, one thing that when I first moved here, everybody was like, "Oh, you got to try egg coffee." I was like, "Egg coffee? I don't want." I'm not really a coffee drinker. I like, and I really did what I was ordering. Which is like a so it's really good.
Cookies and cream milkshake is really good. Cookies and cream milkshake. Traditional Vietnamese coffee, which is really strong.
Yeah, it's really
Americano for your American men. And they also have food. So
yeah,
that's a good start. Cut.
So this is egg coffee. So I know when you think of egg coffee, they don't just like make coffee and then put egg in it. That's not how it works. They have egg yolk, sugar, condensed milk, and Robusta coffee. It's all mixed together. So different locations where you saw the cream part of the egg coffee. Put maybe a lot of cream, so it makes it really thick. Some don't put as much cream, so you could really get more of the egg in it. But people told me it's really good. You have to try it. If I liked coffee in general, I definitely would try it. But it's served hot. It's not served cold. Egg coffee is served hot. So it's definitely really good to try, really good experience. If you ever have a chance to come to Vietnam, I know COVID is, restricting a lot of travel, but it's people have told me it's really good. It's nothing like what you think it is, egg coffee. It's nothing like that. It's more of that, more coffee taste, but it's just what it's made with is egg yolk.
Wow. And I'm like Mailee, I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but that looks very, very intriguing, Mailee. It looks very tasty and very flavorful. So when I go to Vietnam, which I am going to go after COVID, I got to check it out. But also, Mailee, in this section, let's talk about also international. So we have a video, a special shout out, from Lavar Ball. You all know him, a national celebrity. So cue the tape.
Kaya, what's going down? It's the big baller, baby. Yes, indeed. I hear you 14 years old, man, and you playing that basketball in Germany. Yeah, boy, you play for the BBU. And you got to have 2 amazing games. That's what I heard from your pops, that you got the start of the season and you're doing your thing, man. Keep up the good work, man, and keep up that working on that shooting, man. They say your coach, DJ Jones, from the Shooting for Success of San Antonio, is saying the same thing. But check it out. When you're a big baller, you always working on your shooting. That's what I'm talking about, man. Congrats to you. Keep working on your game. I love your style. Triple B's is in the building. Big baller brand, you know how he gets down. Your pops is a big baller, and I'm looking out for him, and he looking out for you. Keep doing your thing. Big ballers out, baby, and holla.
Oh man, he has so much energy, Mailee. And can you kind of tell us about the connection, with Kaya and Big Baller?
Yeah, so Kaya is actually a German basketball player. He plays for the JBBL, which for those basketball, gurus and athletes out there, the Bundesliga is essentially what it is, but it's the junior Bundesliga. So he plays for them. He got his start of the season, did really, really well, and got a shout out from Lavar Ball. And of course, Lavar Ball mentioned Shooting for Success, which is Coach DJ.
Yeah, shout out to Coach DJ.
Yeah, your shots broke. Go to DJ. San Antonio. So DJ trains and has been training him ever since he was, I think, about 9 or 10 years old. And Kaya. One thing about him, he is a fighter. He is a great player. He never gives up on the play. Oh, if things don't go his way, one thing I really liked about his game, when things don't go his way, he fights even harder.
Great quality.
Never is complaining to the referee. If something doesn't go his way, gives the ball up and he tries to get it back. And 9 He's got a 10, he gets it back.
Right.
You know, so he's definitely a fighter and a big baller brand.
Big baller.
Too.
Oh man, that's awesome, Mailee. And shout out to Kaya, shout out to Coach DJ, shout out to Shooting Success. That was amazing. You know, the big baller, he's an amazing celebrity, amazing dad. So it's great to have we were able to show that video, Mailee. But now moving on, let's talk about the VBA, Mailee. So I know the finals, you know, just ended a couple days ago. Saigon Heat ended up lifting the trophy again, back-to-back years, beating the Thing Long Warriors. And I know Mailee was watching this series very closely. I was watching closely from the U.S. Mailee, what is your biggest takeaway? You know, Mailee's favorite player, Vo Kim Ban, ended up winning the MVP. As Mailee says, the best shooter in Vietnam. But what are your biggest takeaways from the finals, Mailee, and Saigon Heat?
Oh, they did really well. You know, to go back to back, you know, that is definitely tough. You know, that is definitely tough. Anybody who plays basketball, anybody who plays the sport, to win back-to-back champions, I mean, you have to be something real special. And the organization did really well. Saigon Heat organization, the VBA did really well by still being able to have their season and keep everything under control as far as COVID, you know, definitely to them. You know, you see the US, they have these big arenas and only like, you know, 2 people are in the stands, but, you know, Vietnam did really well. Their procedures going into the arena was a lot, but it was for your own safety. So that was important. There was definitely social distancing in the arena. So that was great.
Good. Being safe.
Vo Kim Ban set a VBA finals record for 3-pointers with 8 threes. And Shivam, I told you, he is the best shooter in Vietnam, arguably in Southeast Asia. He did super well. I've definitely had workouts with him, and he can just let it go. I did tell him though one time, I said, you know, you need to just shoot it, okay? Don't be faking out air. You need to shoot. God gave you a talent of shooting. You have to shoot. Yeah. Don't pass it to me. Pass it to yourself or pass it to the basket. You know, but he did really well. I'm definitely really proud of him. I was cheering for him the entire season. But congratulations to Vo Kim Ban. He won Player of the Game and definitely back-to-back champion. So it's really good for Saigon Heat.
Yep. Shout out to Saigon Heat. They were the better team, back-to-back champions, which is very hard to do. You know, they got a very strong team, Mailee, and that's, you know, congratulations again on a wonderful season. But we got to move on, Mailee, to our next section, inspiring stories of women in sports. So cue the tape. So who are we going to be talking about today, Mailee, in our Inspiring Stories of Women in Sports section?
We're going to be talking about Sarah Fuller out of Vanderbilt. I'm really excited for this. Sarah Fuller is the first female to play in a football game for a Power 5 conference. So I'm really excited for this. This is definitely a stepping stone for women in sports, you know, not just the executive part, but for actual playing. So this is really good. I know referees and female referees in football are definitely becoming it, but to make this type of history is, or I would like to say her story is really good. I'm just so excited, definitely proud of her. And Shivam, I know you told me this too, but she plays soccer as well. So, you know, being a kicker, place kicker, I mean, there you go. You know, it doesn't really get any better than that, but definitely so excited about this stepping stone for women, period.
Right. And, you know, we know with football we think of football as a men's sport, but, you know, for Sarah Fuller to be able to get the opportunity, you know, to play in a Division I, a men's college football game, you know, not only to be doing the kickoff, but also, you know, the first woman to score in a college football game. She made 2 extra points. You know, she's a goalie, like, you know, Mailee said, and wow, congratulations, you know, to Sarah Fuller, Vanderbilt football. Wow. You know, they were very, you know, progressive, you know, bringing her on the team, giving her an opportunity, and she made the most of this opportunity. And what a first couple of games that she had, Mailee. You know, she really put her imprint on the game, and it's just amazing to see her out there. And she's such an aspiring story, you know, to more women out there that, hey, football is not only a men's sport, but women can also play football too. And I just love the story all around. And, you know, Sarah Fuller is going to continue to do great things. You know, she was a senior, so her football career at Vanderbilt ended, but she's going to go do her master's at North Texas now. So, so good luck to Sarah Fuller, and we know she'll do great things in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And for those who feel it was a concern that, football is, like you said, Shivam, a male sport. There are times, that could be a valid argument because, there's never really, sports in college or professionally where it's co-ed. That's well-known sport that's co-ed. And so I think this is definitely a stepping stone that could be for a women's football team,
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Viewers, football, we're talking about American football, not
American
soccer.
football, yeah.
We're not talking about
known as soccer all around the world, but American football, and so
American football, that's what we're talking about. And I think Sarah Fuller could definitely be, in talks or even lead the way, or if that's not for a American football women's league, just for those who feel that football is a male sport and it shouldn't be co-ed or anything like that. Maybe it's a valid argument, but this is still history that has been made.
History that's been made, and the Vanderbilt players and the coaching staff was really embracing her, making her feel part of the team, empowering her. And I think that really showed, in her performances. And I know it was history, I couldn't believe it, when she was coming out on the field and kicking. It was just such an iconic moment that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and everybody else will remember for the rest of, our lives, because it was such a memorable moment. And remember to connect with us on the Patel Pick and Roll Sports YouTube channel, Mailee Jones Facebook, and Shooting Success Facebook. And if you have any, comments, any feedback, and this is if you have any, inspiring women that you would like us to talk about, in the section, please let us know. Me and Mailee are very open ears. And remember, you can all watch the shows live and also on demand on the 3 channels I said, Patel Pick and Roll Sports YouTube channel, Shooting to Success Facebook channel, and Mailee Jones Facebook channel. But Mailee, that puts an end to the second episode, Christmas edition. I know it went by really fast. We do it again. Enjoyed our conversation. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I know, Mailee, you're there in Vietnam. I'm going to be celebrating Christmas. I'm here, in San Antonio. Everybody continue to stay safe and healthy. Yes. And Mailee, do you have any other closing remarks that you have?
Merry Christmas, you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you those who are in the comments, keeping up with us, staying engaged with us. Merry Christmas. Have a safe Merry Christmas, and have a safe Happy New Year. Best wishes to all you guys. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you again. And remember, our next episode is going to be on January 2nd, our 3rd episode. And enjoy all. It's going to be in 2 weeks. Talking about the same thing. College basketball. International basketball. We'll do our lifestyle and culture and our inspiring stories, in sports. So please hit us up, until then, DM me and Mailee on Twitter and Instagram. If you have any questions from us, we love the interaction. And I know we have audience for both, the U.S., Vietnam, and all over the world. So again, thank you so much, for tuning in. And again, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and continue to be safe and healthy. And until then, we'll see you next time. Signing off. Greg Brown, Mailee. Greg Brown, Freshman of the Year.